Hey everyone, you're watching Ash on Comics. I'm Ash, and here's a comic. Detective Comics 987, doing a review. I've so far reviewed the 4 issues previous to this, which is Bryan Hill's Detective Comics run. I have been very positive. The first 2 issues I really liked. 3rd and 4th issue were really great, and I'm kind of apprehensive. I was very apprehensive about this. I was like, oh God, please don't let this be, a letdown after that great build-up. So was it? Let's find out. First things first, look at this cover. This is the best cover of all of the whole series. That I'm glad they finished with the strongest cover. But here, I don't know how to pronounce this artist, Mendoza. I apologize for butchering it. If someone knows how to pronounce it, please let me know. I hate butchering names. This is the artist of the first 2 books. The 3rd and 4th book was Briones, who was much better. And I believe we'll see. Yeah, you'll see. So we start the book off here. And by the way, obviously, this is going to be spoiled. Let me just tell you, this whole 5-arc run is a recommend. I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't want to be spoiled, don't watch this video, at least yet. Go pick up this run while you can find it. 2 reasons. Number 1, it's good. Number 2, it's introducing a new DC title, and this is first appearance of sorts, so there might be some collectability fact if you're one of those people. Getting the, and no one. Some people speculated. I gotta hand it out, Trajan. If you're watching this, props to you. You freaking called it. I don't know if you had inside knowledge or you just were good at calling it, but you called it. So, anyways, on to the review. We're here, and we see a security guard leaving Wayne Enterprises, shift handoff, typical just dialogue. Hey, guys, see you later next week, Ralph, blah, 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 blah. And as he's walking out, shot to the head. I like how Bryan Hill does not pull punches in his writing. He is a big fan of crime movies. Michael Mann in particular, who is also someone I'm a big fan of. And if you've seen movies like Heat, Thief, Collateral, there's a certain grittiness and realism to their style, and you can tell that carries over into Bryan's writing, especially when he's writing a book like Batman. And this is exactly something I could see happening in one of those type of movies. Just straight up, no nonsense, shot to the head, and you're just like, wow, damn, this is supposed to be a comic book. And I know comic books have been violent for some time, but just this sort of, it almost seems gratuitous, but it's not. It's really setting the pace, setting the scene here for what's about to come. It's kind of very Die Hardish in a way too. So we get this security guard's like, okay, tell me what you want. He obviously doesn't want to die. And of course it's karma. Here's another thing about this series. This is not this book, but the first book of the run is Karma's first appearance and his origin. So yeah, there's very good reasons to get this besides the good writing. This is all around is a good recommend. This is what comics should be. So Karma's got the big trap that he's going to try to get to Batman. And if you haven't been following along, his whole motivation is that he thinks Batman is weak. He has come to this great epiphany after Batman beat him many years ago and set him straight, supposedly. He's kind of gone wacko, like all Batman's villains. He now thinks Batman has become weak. And this is the man that made him. So he has like some sort of twisted respect for Batman. But now that Batman has his Bat family, he's no longer the Batman he was. And Batman sort of starts to realize this. And me, from a subjective standpoint, I'm loving this because I feel that way too as a reader. I hate the Bat family. I don't hate necessarily that the characters exist. I just don't... Batman is a solitary figure. I don't like that he runs around with all these different Robin variations and Batgirl variations, and it's just annoying. So that's just my subjective thing. Some people love it. So Batman is... The scene here now is that he's told Batman that he was going to kill off these hostages if Batman didn't kill off his little sidekicks, which of course Batman's not going to do, and they rescued the sidekicks last issue, but Karma got away. So this time he's hired some goons. They're going to set a trap. Batman is going to come and they want to kill him. And we get some nice kind of character interaction between these characters and Jefferson Pierce, which is Black Lightning. And I really liked it. I like character development. I like character interaction. This is why I was always a big X-Men fan back in the golden days, because of that sort of that soap opera dynamic. Oh, Ash, if you like that, you should like the Bat Family. Yeah, except the Bat Family is dumb. If the Bat Family wasn't dumb, yes, I'd like that. So pause that thought, though. I'll get back to that later. So we've got these characters. Last issue, Batman recruited her to help out. Jefferson Pierce is supposed to be leading these guys. He's going to go off and try to stop the guys. He's like, look, I'm going alone. You guys can't help me. I need to basically prove something to myself. And Jefferson Pierce kind of gets that. How do I say this? In this scene, at first he's going to say, you wanted to see how I would lead them, so watch me. Because he's kind of going against Batman. He's like, we're going to help out. So he does actually help them out a little bit. The team gets the goons, but it's really just a ruse so that Batman can kind of come in and deal with Karma. And so it was kind of a concession that Jefferson Pierce made with Batman. It's like, look, you need to do this alone, but you also need some help. So we're going to help you to a point, and then you can finish this. And this is where I said, like, Jefferson gets it. He tells them, stand down. And he realizes that Batman has to prove to himself, more than anyone, that he still has what it takes and that he's not weak. So Batman goes off in the elevator. And in the previous books, I was reading some of the dialogue and some of the scenes just to illustrate how well Bryan Hill is handling these characters. I don't want to really do that in this episode, in this one, because this is the final issue, and I know I'm spoiling it anyway, but there's still a lot of sweetness to read. He writes Batman so well. Even if there's nothing happening in the story, just hearing him, he knows the tone. He knows the voice that this character has. And he makes the other characters interesting too. So Batman confronts Karma. The problem is that Karma has the ability to read minds. So he's able to beat Batman simply because he knows what Batman's going to do every time he's doing it. So he could, in combat, he's more than a match for Batman. Plus, this alien technology gives him super strength and all this other stuff. Batman realizes the way to beat him is to get off this helmet, because that's what gives him all the power. But how to do that, because he knows what you're going to do before you do it. And, I gotta pause. Greatness. Black Label. All right. So they get in a fight. And the cool thing here is Batman, we kind of know at this point that Batman has got a plan. So he's engaging him, kind of falling into his trap on purpose, so that Karma will fight and predict what he's going to do and beat him. Like, he's like, he knows he's going to get beat. Karma's, kind of doing his thing, and it's all just like get Karma comfortable and then realize, wait a second, you're in my thoughts. You have got into my head so that you can beat me. And now that you're in there, I'm going to unleash the madness within. And I don't think this is Bryan's intention based on some of the comments that he's made on social media, his feelings about Bruce versus Batman, the dynamic. But it's the way I read it for subjectively, because I believe Batman's crazy. The way I read Batman is he's not quite as Looney Tunes as his villains. He's like not, the Joker, for instance. But he's cracked. The difference between him being cracked and the villains is he's still functional in society. So there are a lot of people in the world that have mental issues, but they're able to control them. They're able to say they understand, still right and wrong, and they're functional. Batman is one of those people, in my opinion. And so while that's what separates him between him and the villains. But he's still kind of loony. And he's got those issues because he's severe psychological trauma. So here we go, he lets loose. And it's all the horrors, well, at least some of the highlights of Batman's career, death of Robin. We got his bat being broke, heart being broke. That's too soon. Obviously, parents, death of the parents, the bats. It's all of it. He just unleashes all of his trauma at once, and it overloads Karma, who's reading his mind, for just long enough for Batman to get the edge and rip off the mask. And that was pretty cool. It seems like that would be telegraphed. Like, that's just so kind of predictable. I did not see how that was coming. Like, I'm reading the book, and it all played out just kind of quick enough to where I was like, I couldn't figure out how he's going to beat Karma until I saw it. And it kept me entertained the whole way. So now we see, poor pathetic Karma, you're going to Arkham. So Batman realizes, though, that he made him, and he tells him, you're going to get all the help you can get. So there's that compassionate side, Bruce Wayne kind of leaking through here. I'm going to heal your mind. No, you're not. This guy's coming back. Anyways, so we go back over to, the story's over. We got epilogue here. And we got Bruce talking to Jefferson Pierce, Black Lightning. And here's where we get the first appearance that I was talking about. I saw a lot of red lights on that map. As long as you remember, Metropolis and my school comes first. I'm in. Good. I'll contact you when I get back to Gotham. Get your passport ready. That's referring to Bruce was showing Black Lightning in the comic that there was all these other troubles besides this current issue that he wants help with. And then he says, tell Lucius, whatever your school needs, I'll help, blah, 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 blah. And then this is a cool moment where we get Jefferson, the concerned social, I don't want to say he's social warrior, but, he works in education. He cares about people. Anyways, so he makes a comment to Batman, says, about what happened to your parents. No child should have to go through that. I'm only going to say this once because I'm not sure anyone has ever said it to you. You were just a kid. It wasn't your fault. Your team is called the Outsiders. If he asks you about it, there's no point in lying to him. And as I love, number one, you got the compassion and concern of Jefferson Pierce, and then Bruce Wayne just completely just ignoring that he even said that. And that is so perfect. There's no, yeah, thanks. Like, this is how it never even got said. And then if he asks you about it, he's like, hey, if who asks me? Come on, we all know who he's talking about. Dun, da, da, da. Soups. So Superman shows up and confronts him. And this is just kind of like a sweet flavor. It's not really crucial to the story, but Superman's just basically warning Jefferson, don't become like the Batman. And then he flies off. And it was a sweet little moment that I really appreciated, like this cameo. This is how cameos should be done. And then we got a second epilogue where this woman here's Markovia, who sold the alien technology. We learn that she was working with Luthor, and this guy's all pissed off because now Batman's been alerted and he's going to come, and he's just, she's basically telling him he's going to learn that Markovia is not Gotham. And then she blasts him with her cyclopean eye. So that's it. To be continued, which is interesting to me, even though Bryan Hill's not writing. I forget who the next writer is for the next arc. They don't have a permanent writer set for this book yet, but apparently Bryan and the other writer collaborated, at least to the extent of the plot lines, so that Bryan could hand the baton off and say, okay, here's where my story's going to end. You can now pick up from there. So that is the end of the book. I really enjoyed this. I did not enjoy it as much as issue 3 and 4, however, and I really have to attribute that to the art. The artist of this book is just functional. He's not ready for one of DC's flagship titles. I mean, even the Felipe Briones, who did the 2 issues I really liked, he was so much better because of his visual storytelling ability. He knew how to tell a story with pictures. It wasn't that his art was flashy or so well illustrated, but his sequential storytelling was excellent, and it really just enhanced Bryan's already strong narrative. This one went back, and it's functional. I got the story enough, but this story was better than that art. This deserved better. So I'm gonna give this book. Oh man, I don't want to say 3 stars. It's better than average. I gotta give it a 4-star review. It's a good book. It's very good. Solid ending. Not quite as high as the previous 2 notes, but not a strong dip either. I like the fact that it introduced the Outsiders. Again, Trajan channel. Plug to his channel. You should watch. He does some cool stuff. He called this. He was like he was saying Outsiders book was coming and blah blah blah, and it looks like it is. Is Bryan Hill writing it? If Bryan Hill's writing the Outsiders, and this has all been kept under wraps, and that's why he's not continuing on with Detective Comics, I'm buying it. I don't even care who you put this guy on the art. I mean, I want him to have a great artist, but I'll buy the Outsiders. But Ash, you don't like the Bat family. Well, the Outsiders isn't. I mean, it is the Bat family, but it's not Batman and family. It's a separate team led by Jefferson Pierce. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with other vigilantes running around Gotham. I just don't want Batboy, Batgirl, Batdog, Batgrandpa. It's Robin this. We got the Red Hood. Now we got the Signal. It's there's 5 different Robins running around. It's so incestuous in the creation of the characters. It's just annoying. But if you can get away from that, if you can say, look, we're going to separate that, and they've been doing that, I think with Red Hood, they've been doing well. Get away from being a Batman clone and having their strong identities on their own, I can get more into that. Plus, Bryan is writing great comics, and he understands the Bat universe, clearly. So I'm in. I would be totally in. I don't know anything. I'm going to look forward to seeing what that is. You should read these. You should get these books. 5 issues. Well worth your time. I don't really have any much more to say on this. I would love to hear anyone's feedback. Put them in the comments below. $2.99 per issue. How is anyone not getting this book? Why is this not one of the number 1 books on there? This This is how comics should be. When people, I want to talk a second about Comicsgate, because I see on Twitter all the time the opponents of Comicsgate constantly misrepresent what Comicsgate is about. Comicsgate is about good comics. That's what we want. That's all we want. Actually, it's not true. We want good comics, and we want pros to start being professional and respectful to fans and stop calling fans Nazis and bigots and all this stuff. So this is the epitome of what a Comicsgate comic is. It's got a great professional, Bryan Hill, who on social media is awesome to the fans. He has a great presence, super professional, fun to hear, his tweets. Knows how to write a fantastic comic. It's just fun. He's a person of color, if that matters to people. We're constantly called, white bigots, and all we care about is white supremacy. But yet, I'm plugging Bryan Hill. So if that matters to you, if melanin count matters, there you have that. Jefferson Pierce leading the Outsiders is a person of color that's diverse. It has everything that SJWs, people who are against Comicsgate, would say that we would be against. So they don't get it. This is what we want. Fun comics, well written, decently well drawn, treated well by the professionals, not called a bunch of a-holes. Give us this and we'll be happy. They'll insist that, if you do this, no, they're wrong. Move the needle. Get this book. Sorry for that little last-minute rambling. I kept it at the end, so if you don't want to hear that stuff, you could have just dropped out a couple minutes ago. Thank you so much for watching these videos. I hope you enjoyed this series. Please let me know if you did read this, what you thought. Anything else you want to say too? I welcome it. I love my feedback. I know I'm not the greatest presenter in the world. I have different things I'm trying to work on. I'm trying to not say so much, but it's hard. I'm not a professional. I just love to talk about comics and share my enthusiasm and my joy and my appreciation of things I understand about comics, and learn new things from other people who understand things that give me feedback and have a discussion. So thanks again for watching. God, I love this book.